Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Um, I am Debbie. For those of you that don't know me, I am Debbie Danford, and I am the West Coast part of the East Meets West Creativity Kit. And I am here today with my stamping partner.
And I'm Tracie Evans Langley, and I am the East Coast portion of the East Meets West Stampers. And you know what's more fun than stamping, Debbie?
Stamping with
Stamping
Friends.
with friends.
She wore her shirt that we
I
had made
did.
when we
Little
did
fun.
our event in Raleigh, which I almost put that on, but I was afraid it was going to be a little warm if I put it on. Although today here in Washington, it is cloudy, but the sun is supposed to come out later today. We've had really weird weather this last week. One day it's 80, the next day it's 60. So I shouldn't say weird because for us that's kind of typical, but anyway, today
Yeah.
it's cloudy right now, right now.
All right, so you
Um,
want to do we'll go back through the kind of housekeeping stuff. So we are going to take a break. We'll take a 30-minute break in the middle, but after Debbie's done and before I start, so that Debbie can download the video and into a YouTube link that we will then put in the Facebook group. So you'll have access to that indefinitely. And we are going to take a picture and share your workspace, what it currently looks like, or at some point before the end of the day. And we're going to do an extra drawing, and we'll do two prize patrols, and then we'll do an extra drawing for the people who share their picture.
yes, yes, I think that's a good idea.
I think it's fun. You know me.
Hopefully everybody got their packets, except Cheryl. I know you didn't get yours, but you're not out here today because you have other um, something else going on today. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, you will get your packet on Monday. But hopefully everybody got their packets and has everything they're supposed to have. If you are missing something, please let Tracy or I know because we will definitely make sure you get what you need.
Because we do
Um,
forget sometimes.
yes, we do make mistakes. Anything else we need to tell them? I don't think so. I think that's pretty much
So,
everything.
yeah. Does
So
anybody have any questions or concerns about projects before we get started?
one thing I will bring up is last week, um, between Tracy and I, our internets were a hot mess and um, we got very frustrated. And I even had a team meeting that week too, and it was really bad. And I don't know what the deal was, but I have had Christopher come look at everything. He says everything's fine. He thinks it was our internet that day and we have Starlink at our house. So Tracy and I are hoping that we got everything figured out and fixed as to the best of our ability, I guess is what I should
Well,
say.
and yes, we went to the point that I have moved a extender. So if mine gets, just let us know if it does freeze or if it gets wonky, and we'll try
Yeah.
something else.
And so far my hands have been fine because I
Um,
was even having that.
but it worked pretty good on Wednesday.
Okay. All right. So I am going to spotlight my hands for everyone, and we're going to move down to here. And of course, you all know we're using the textured notes bundle. Hopefully, everybody has already been playing with this bundle. It is an awesome bundle to play with. And Tracy and I were just talking about it the other day that normally by the time we finish with the class, we're kind of burned out on that stamp set or bundle that we've been using, but this time we're not. So, which is a good thing. And the dies that come with this set, of course, are all those rectangle dies, and they are awesome. I've been using those a lot. Hopefully, everybody else has been enjoying them. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started here. And I'm going to bring in the first project, and I'm going to grab a scrap piece here for my stamping. I even polished up my glass mat yesterday when I was doing all my little bit of cleaning. So here's the first project we're going to make. And I see there's a little bit of glare today, but hopefully that will not be an issue.
Tracy,
Yes, ma'am.
I have somehow or other lost everything. Should I just go completely out and come back in?
What do you mean you've lost
Well, I
everything?
mean, all I can see is Zoom workspace place, and it tells me to put in email. Should it be my email and then my password or
No, you should.
Um, That's weird, Pat, because we can still see
We can
you.
see, yeah, we can
You
see
can see
you.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what
So,
should I do, wonder? Hmm.
um,
Um,
Might be a different window.
yeah, click the different, so down on the bottom, um, you probably have, so there's a little, you should have like a little zoom icon down on your bar at the bottom. And if you put your cursor over it, you'll get two separate windows.
yeah, you
Maybe,
probably, I think you might have clicked out of
yeah,
the Zoom. So look at the bottom, like Tracy was saying, and then see if there's
At the
two Zoom.
bottom,
like your toolbar, like where you would click to open up the internet.
okay, now I see, now, thank you, you're a genius. You both are. Thank you. I'm not going to touch that remote again.
Don't touch it.
Okay. So here's what we're making for the first project. Um, we are using one color and Lost Lagoon it is. So you should have in your packets everything. This has already been pre-embossed for you, this piece here. And I'm not going to go through the measurements because they are all in the um, PDF. Plus everything should be cut and should be cut at the right size. I would say should because you never know with
You never know.
some, we have been known to make mistakes. Okay. So what I did, and of course we're using the elements of text. How many of you have this one? Hopefully you all have it because this is it's a great set to have to add texture to your background of
Yeah.
your cards. Okay, so what I did is you're going to ink up, and I'm using the words that kind of have the round shape because the way I did this, that's how I felt like it fit the best. Now, when you're going to start your stamping, this piece is going to end up down here, so you don't necessarily have to stamp down below. If it goes down below, it's fine, but you're not going to see it. So keep that in mind. If you want to, you can either lay this out or you could, let me slide this up a little bit. You can use your grid paper to like have a little mark here. Like I could put a little pencil mark right here along the side, just so I kind of know where that's going to go. And all I'm going to do is stamp this. And I'm trying to remember, I think I stamped it off. So I'm going to stamp that off first. And if I decide I don't like it, I can always flip it and do it again. And I'm just going to stamp right there in that little area because I'm focusing on this corner right here.
Better to stamp off. Unlike some of us who did bonus class videos, it's better to stamp off than not stamp off.
Yeah. The only one we're going to stamp in full strength is the main leaf there. The rest of them I all stamped off first, second, third generation, all of them. I did them all. Then you're going to stamp the little basket weave circle one. And again, I stamped off here and I kind of put that right down here in this corner too. We're kind of doing some collage stamping, but we're focusing on one section of the card. Then we're going to bring in the little leaf. And this one you can stamp first, second, third. You can spread it out. I just randomly stamped all over with this little leaf. Okay. And then this is really an easy card to make. Then we're going to take the big leaf. And that one I am going to stamp because you want to make sure you see most of that leaf. And that is in first generation stamping. So just like that. Now, normally I would say take a blending brush and go around the edges, but I didn't do that this time. I don't know why, I just didn't. Normally I do. Now, what I'm going to do to stamp the phrase, I'm going to go ahead and lay this down here. And then I'm going to stamp a little note of appreciation, which is one of the greetings in the textured note set. And then I'm going to just stamp that right there. And Debbie stamped crooked, but we're going to go with it. Well, maybe. You know what? Debbie's going to start over. We're going to do this really quick. Crooked phrase. We don't want a crooked phrase. Okay. So you get to see it twice. There's our words. There's our circle. Nothing worse than a crooked phrase, right?
I'd have just grabbed a piece of scrap paper and stamped it on that and put it over it.
Well, and I did think about that, but then I thought, you know what? This is pretty easy to stamp. So we're going to do it again. Okay. There's that one. And then our big leaf. We're going to stamp right there. And then we're going to try it again. This is why you don't glue this piece down, just in case you do have to flip it and start over. And now this time we're going to hope we can get, okay. See, it's straight there. Woohoo!
Look at you.
Look at me go. Okay, now what we're going to do is attach this piece. Now, if you haven't used this embossing folder yet, and my two go-to adhesives are, because that was redundant there, are the Mono Glue, and I use the Stampin' Seal Plus. For this kind of embossing folder, I would definitely use glue just because you have a lot of little grooves there and you want this to stick. And I feel like you could use the adhesive, but I feel like glue works better on some of these 3D embossing folders. So there's that. Debbie forgot to get the ribbon out. I have everything out but that. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and attach. Now, if this piece ends up like this one is sticking out just a little bit there on the edge, just trim it off. And I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive here. And then we're just adding that piece of ribbon right there to kind of cover that seam we've got going on between the stamping and the emboss piece. And then we're going to attach that to the pretty peacock layer. Just like that. And somehow I got a piece of adhesive on the front of the card.
I did that when I was doing my bonus class video on the back of the card, and I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know where it came from, but anyway.
That's what happened to me.
And of course, you want to decorate the inside of your card too. So I just took the big leaf and did some random 1, 2, 3 generation, or actually maybe I used the little one there. I don't know, but you can use whatever one you want. And on this one, I did do some blending with the Lost Lagoon. You don't have to, but you certainly can. I'm just looking for my Lost Lagoon blending brush though. Oh, we're just going to grab this one. And then we're just going to add a little bit of ink. All I do is go around the edges, this little edge here, and then kind of do some right there. And then there's our inside piece. Okay, so that's all our stamping. So now we're going to go ahead and finish our assembly. And I work in a flat surface as much as I can. Now, there's sometimes when you're making a fun fold that you have to like put some folds in, but I have found, and I've been doing this now for, gosh, probably over a year, I think, right, Tracie?
Yeah.
And I have found it so much easier to assemble everything if this is laying flat down here instead of trying to line everything up when sometimes this is buckling up like that. So give it a try. You might find you really like working in the flat surface. And it is hard to get used to because your first instinct is to fold the card in half and burnish it.
Mhm.
But I don't do that so much anymore. I've even been trying to teach my granddaughter to work because she wants to do the same thing. I think it's a natural instinct that
It
we want,
is.
because she even did the same thing the other day. We were making a card, and the first thing she did is fold it in half. And I said, no, let's lay it flat. No, Grammy, we have to fold it. And I'm like, okay, never mind. I didn't want to argue with her about it. It was like, okay, we'll just go with that for right now.
It's Annabelle. It's not worth it.
Yeah, it was like, okay. All right. And then there's our inside, and then we will fold it and do a good little burnish on it. Now, I colored the bling here with the Lost Lagoon Stampin' Blends. You don't have to. You could put white ones on there, but I'm going to go ahead and grab them. Before I do that, let's finish off our ribbon here. And tie this here. And then go ahead and clip those off. And then let me grab my Lost Lagoon. And we are going to color. I always start with light when I'm coloring, and then if I feel like it's not dark enough, because sometimes the dark is really dark. And you can use either end. I'm going to color one of the big ones and two of the little ones. And then we will go ahead and attach those. And there's that. And I think I'll just put the other one right there this time. Okay. So there we go. There's our first card. And please let me know if I am working like too fast, because sometimes I do wish I could figure out why I have such a glare going on. I'm going to try something really quick. Give me a second.
It's your overhead light.
Is that better?
No.
No.
I mean, but it's not bad. The glare is just on the glass mat. Oh, there it is. Now you don't have any at all.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. I just turned off the one light. There we go. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So there's our first project. Woohoo! How's everybody doing with it?
They're all really quiet. They're working hard.
I guess everybody's
Doing
really
good. I just stamped my thing sideways, so I had to redo the whole card. So just running a little behind, but
That's all right.
okay. Yeah, we've all done that before too.
I like this a lot. I like the colors.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do too. I thought it was, and normally I don't necessarily work in all one color, but I thought that one worked out quite well. So, and at the end, I will also, I got to clean my stamps here. So, Megan, you have time to catch up. And I'm also going to pull out all my other samples that as Tracie and I like to say, didn't make the cut, but that doesn't mean they're not good cards. We
we just like some of them better than others. And then we very rarely make the same card or some, but we did have one card that was too similar, we felt like.
Yeah.
So we kind of played rock, paper, scissors, and Debbie won. So we're making hers. I'm kidding. I actually had a card I liked better. So
Okay, so let's clean these up. And as I was getting all my stuff out yesterday, I realized I used everything in this stamp set. And I don't always do that, even all the words. So I felt like that was a pretty good accomplishment that we used everything. At least on
yeah,
my,
I did too.
yeah, which is nice. I mean, that means it's a really good overall set. Sometimes you like one part of it and the words you don't, and maybe you're like, eh. But yeah, I used all the words even, and so that was nice as I was getting everything ready. Okay. So now we are going to move on to project 2, which is this one here. Now this one, you're going to pick a piece of designer series paper That's going to layer on the background and cut it at 4 by 5 1/4. And then your other piece is already pre-cut, but we're going to do some random, again, like collage type stamping. And then we're going to emboss it with that 3D embossing folder. Now, if you do not have that embossing folder, or if you want to use a different one, of course, you certainly can. You don't have to use that one, but I thought it worked quite well. Now, the funny thing is about this, as I was telling everybody earlier, I had to remake all my samples because somebody got them in their packet. And when I remade this one, I forgot to emboss this piece. So then I had to pull it all back apart because I didn't want to make the whole card again, but I did manage to salvage it and pull it apart and fix it. So, you know, we all forget things. And I was even looking at my directions just to make sure I was doing everything correctly. And somehow I missed going and doing the embossing part. So, all right, so let's go ahead. I'm going to attach this piece of designer series paper to the card front first, just to kind of get it out of my way. And we'll put that down. And then we're going to go ahead and do some random stamping. And this time I have to look at my sample just a little bit so I know what colors. And I don't have the directions up as far as which one you want to start with, and I don't think it really matters. The only one I'm not going to start with first is the big leaf with the pecan pie. We'll do that one last, but I use the crumb cake and gray granite for anything else we're going to stamp. And you don't have to do it the same way I do it. You can pick whatever leaf you want in whatever color. So let's go ahead and start with the small leaf here. And I did that in gray granite. And again, we're going to do first, second, third generation stamping. Already got a splotch on there. And I'm going to kind of start just randomly. And I'm going around the whole thing with all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm kind of funny about random stamping. I always like to make sure I have an odd number. See, I was counting even.
Hey, Debbie, this is why we're friends.
This is how terrible it is sometimes. It's like, okay, I got to add one more somewhere. And I don't really, because it's not going to matter in the whole end of this card, but I still do it.
But you'll know.
Yes, but I would know. Yes. And I was watching a video of, and I don't even remember who it was, of somebody stamping something. And I thought, you need to stamp one more. But, you know, obviously they weren't listening to me. But anyway. And then this little guy here, I don't know what you want to call this piece, but I did him randomly in crumb cake. And make sure you're kind of turning things in different directions. Okay, so there's that one. Now, I didn't use anything, let me double check on here, on the notes of texture one on here, but you certainly could. And I was thinking I did. Oh, no, it's the next card. Then we're going to take the big leaf here and actually, hang on, I'm going to look at my inside. So on the inside, I did do a couple different ones there. So before we close up some of these, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my inside piece. And I'm going to stamp some gray granite with the little leaf. And then we're going to do some of the pecan pie with the big leaf on the inside. So I think close that for right now. And then we'll bring in the big leaf and pecan pie. And then let's stamp this first. And again, you're just random. See over there. And then let me bring in my inside and we'll kind of do the same thing. But I'm going to stamp off first and then I'm going to put some on there. All right. I am also going to grab a blending brush because I did do some blending on here.
This might be the first set of projects. I didn't use a blending brush. I didn't use a dauber.
Wow.
I know. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Now you can blend. I'm not going to use pecan pie. I think I'm going to go lighter and go crumb cake. And I'm going to go around the edges here. And again, you don't have to do this part. I just like to soften up the edges sometimes when you've done some collage stamping like this. Which after looking at my samples, that's kind of what I did on quite a few of them.
Yes, you did.
Guess I was into that. Okay, so there's all of that. Now, the last thing before we clean up our stamping, we're going to bring in our little die cut circle here. And I stamped the thank you from this set. And I stamped in crumb cake, full strength for the word, for the greeting. And I wobbled, but we're not going to worry about that because now we're going to take I'm going to use the little leaf. I need to clean up first though. And then I'm going to stamp it in. I'm going to stamp off so it's not as dark. And then we're going to stamp it just right in the background, just like that. That's why I wasn't worried about where I wobbled a little bit. And I'm going to cover it up with bling.
There you go.
Bling.
One of my ladies calls those snot marks.
Snot marks. That's funny.
It's
Okay.
Bonnie, one of the Virginia ladies.
Oh, okay.
Get
Yep.
away.
Okay.
It totally sounds like her, doesn't it?
Yep. Now, if you notice on here, I did color the ribbon and I didn't use the Stampin' Blend. So before I put everything away, I actually just used my blending brush and pulled a piece of ribbon out only because I didn't want it. The Stampin' Blends are a little bit darker and I was just trying to go a little bit lighter. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut a piece here. And then I'm going to bring in the blending brush. And I've been doing this quite a bit to just have a little bit lighter version of the colors. Now, if you want it darker, you certainly can color it with any one of the Stampin' Blends.
I didn't know that that's how you did that. I might have to try that on my last card today.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it just makes it a little bit lighter because sometimes I feel like it ends up, you color it and then it's like, well, that really is too dark, but it's already done now.
Yeah.
Even when you use the lighter version of the Stampin' Blend. So you can do it with the blending brush or a dauber. I guess you could use a dauber too, but
I think you might get dots.
and that's kind of what I thought too, but I felt like the blending brush worked really good.
Yeah. It looks good.
Yeah. So
are you doing both sides of it or are you just doing one side?
both sides. You want to, yeah, it doesn't bleed through. Like with the Stampin' Blends, it would bleed through and sometimes you don't have to, but no, you do have to flip it and do both sides. So I've colored both sides there. Okay. So now let's go ahead and do some assembly. So now this, and we already die cut this little piece out for you. So this is going to go on here like this. Oh, wait. I will be right back. I have to go emboss it. I almost forgot that step.
Uh-oh.
See, I almost did it again. So I'll be right back.
Don't forget the embossing, Debbie. That's the best part.
Yes, I know.
Everybody doing okay?
Yep.
Everybody caught up?
Close enough.
Yeah. So far, everything good in everybody's kits. That's always a good question.
Okay. Well, that's always good news.
Yeah, that is good news because
Okay, now we're going to attach it. And again, I'm using the mono glue or green glue, whatever you refer to it as. And we'll layer that on there. And then I put this on kind of crooked, I guess you could say, and popped it up with dimensionals. Don't forget
At
to,
an angle. You put it on at an angle.
thank you. Don't forget to add your ribbon. You can either add it before you attach the emboss piece or after, like I'm going to do now because I forgot to attach it. We're not going to, that's a minor little detail. Now, if you're into fussy cutting, what you could do also with any of even the last project, this one, and even the next project, you could stamp one of these bigger leaves and fussy cut it and kind of tuck it underneath, and it would look really cute. I'll be honest, I'm not into fussy cutting.
For some strange reason, I do like fussy cutting this particular set. I don't know why.
Yeah, you did a couple that way, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
I couldn't remember if they made the cut or didn't make the cut. That's why I didn't want to say something.
I fussy cut that big leaf out of desperation.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, so although I had already put adhesive on the back, I forgot we are popping this baby up.
I don't know why Laura's not getting the.
Okay. All right, how's everybody doing? Too fast, too slow?
I think you're doing great.
Okay.
Seems like everybody's kind of on point today.
Good. And then we're going to attach this to our card front at an angle. However you want there. And then this little guy just kind of tucks underneath here, and I tucked it a little bit over here. So you don't necessarily have to center your circle on here. You can if you want, but I kind of put it over to the left, and then I kind of tucked it right here so you don't really see, all you're going to see is the end of it. I also popped up, I added adhesive to the circle and attached that to the little rectangle, and then popped that up also. If you don't want to pop up both pieces, you certainly do not have to, but I thought it was just adds a little more to it. And here, we'll just finish. I almost have this little section of dimensionals done. It's like, got to use every little piece of it.
That's right. What do you guys like? I typically use the mini dimensionals, even if I'm doing a bigger, except if my samplers, I do use the large ones when I'm doing samplers. But do you guys have a preference about which dimensionals, which size you use? Anybody?
Maybe. I prefer large, except when I
Large.
need the little ones.
I actually prefer the minis, except in some cases, like if I would have had a large, I didn't have a large thing here, I would have used large on this card to put behind here because it would have made more sense. But I used them all and I didn't pull another one out. So I tend to use the minis more.
Yeah, me too.
Now, here's another question we'll ask about dimensionals, and I think we've asked this before. So when you start a brand new pack, like this one's not brand new, do you pull from the middle or do you start and you go row by row? This is always one of those. It's kind of like potato, I guess. I don't know, but it's one of those that, and I've seen people post pictures of it before too. Like, do you start from the middle or are you very organized and go from the edge out?
Well,
I do not go from the middle.
I do not either. It makes my OCD insane. As a matter of fact, for those of you who joined us live in Raleigh, you probably met my downline Megan. And she was doing a Facebook Live one night, and I don't know why, but there were several of the other ladies, the team members here in my studio. And we were like, oh, well, we should go watch her Facebook Live for a few minutes and just support her. And she starts putting together her project, and she literally has a brand new sheet of dimensionals, and she starts taking them off right in the very middle. And you would have thought that she had, I don't even know, done the worst, like committed a felony, because everybody in the room started screaming.
Don't do that.
So my team definitely, for the most part, are about a row at a time.
Yeah. Okay, then you just want to add some blingity bling. And then we will attach our inside piece. And then burnish it. And there we go, project number 2. I think I colored this ribbon with the gray granite the way it looks, but either one works. Okay, so let's move on to project number 3. Is everybody doing okay? Let me clean my stamps really quick again. And we're going to go to a bright and cheery color palette, I guess you could say.
Yeah, we both kind of did that.
Yeah. Well, I think our tendencies are to kind of follow along with the paper we're going with. So they were all, earth tone colors and the black, of course. And then I thought, okay, we need to add some color here. So I think we were both thinking on the same wavelength about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Got those clean. Now we are going to do project number 3. And here's this one. So this time, again, we're going to do some more like collage stamping. And again, you could die cut that, well, either one of the leaves. I think the smaller one is a little bit more difficult to fussy cut. So you could fussy cut the large leaf and stick some of those coming out any direction here if you wanted to. And then this piece is already embossed for you. So what you're going to do is pull in, and then the inside, of course, you want to do some stamping on the inside. We're going to pull in that smaller piece of basic white. And this time we're stamping with Granny Apple Green, Lemon Lime Twist, and Daffodil Delight. I probably would have used the new Darling Duckling, but we designed these cards a while back. Seems like
Okay, you're gonna laugh. You said you read through your own directions. I'm literally sitting here going, oh, I should probably read through my directions today.
Okay, so this time I did pull this one here from the elements of text, and we're going to randomly stamp that one. And then I used both leaves. Now you can also pull in, the little basket weave or anything you want anytime you do any of these. So don't feel like you have to stick with whatever I did here. And I'm going to start with, it looks like I started with Lemon Lime Twist. And again, random stamping. We're going to just start moving it around the page. Okay. Now, when I first actually designed this card, I didn't stamp in the middle right here because I knew I kind of had a goal in mind and I knew I was going to cover it up. So if you don't want to waste your time or ink, stamping in the middle, you don't have to. But this time I did. But originally I was stamping like top and bottom and then leaving that. Like if you wanted to mask that off, you could, but it doesn't matter. You're going to cover it up anyway. Nobody's going to know what's behind there. Okay, so that was the little phrase in the lemon lime twist, and then we're going to take the small leaf, and we're going to stamp that in Daffodil Delight. And I did re-ink everything up yesterday, so should have some dark impressions here, probably a little bit darker than what I was using originally, but I felt like I probably needed to re-ink some things up here. Okay. So there's that one. And then we'll take the bigger leaf and we're going to do that in the Granny Apple Green.
Which in an odd twist of fate is the color that we both did choose to use on one of our cards, besides black and brown.
Yes, we did. Okay, I kind of think I like what's going on. Now, this one does look darker, and I have to tell you, I'm pretty sure it's because I re-inked everything up, and these were probably pads that had been used a lot. Okay, I'm going to pull in our inside piece here, and then I'm going to randomly stamp the big leaf in the corner, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp off once first. And I like to do it several times. I'm also going to bring in the little word, and I'm going to stamp some of that just kind of in here too. It's the inside, and for those of you that, if you decorate your envelope at the same time, please feel free to, make sure you go ahead and do that too. I don't do that. And I'm going to bring in Lemon Lime Twist blending brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit of ink here. And then I'm going to go ahead and blend on here. And you could use either one of the three colors. This was the brush I found that was labeled. Most of mine are labeled, but I have a few that aren't yet. Christopher Bauer, my label maker, and I keep forgetting to get it back from him. So, all right. Now we can go ahead and assemble. Oh, wait, one more thing. We got to stamp our phrase. Almost forgot. And this time I used the "You Are Seriously the Best." And you can stamp in either Granny Apple Green, Lemon Lime. You can stamp in any one of the colors. I did one of the greens. I don't know which one. I think I did Granny Apple Green. That's what we're going to do today. And I know it looks like this doesn't fit, but it does fit in here. Hopefully straight. I'm a little high, but that's okay. We'll go with it. Okay. Now we can do some assembly. So we're just going to attach that to there. Let's close these up so we don't drop a card into it.
Or stick your elbow in it.
Or that, or your finger, and then you touch your card, and we've all done, I think, all of those probably at some time or another. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and attach this here, and then we're going to attach our emboss piece right here in the middle. Like that. Now, I was going to pre-start my deconstruction here, and I forgot about it because sometimes it goes really quick and sometimes it doesn't. So you want to take a piece of the ribbon and you're going to deconstruct it. And usually you can just pull one of the end pieces and it'll start. There we go. Woohoo! This one went quick.
One end always works better than the other for some.
Yeah, and we can't figure out why, but it does. And sometimes it's very quick and easy, and sometimes we've struggled.
Yes.
Just
Oh, hey, Faye.
Hey,
How are ya?
good. How are you?
We're good. Did you just join us or have you been there a minute?
For a minute.
Okay. So
welcome.
we're working, yes, welcome. So we're working on card 3 is where we are.
But we are recording it, so
But it is, yes. And yeah, and it'll be up this afternoon. So pretty much as soon as we finish this session, then Debbie will download it and all
yes,
that.
it
And then
will
put it
be
on
up later today. I won't
for later today.
because
Well, that's true. But yeah.
yeah, I probably will not try to upload it to YouTube until we are completely done, just because I don't want my internet to be like all freaking out. Right now, everything's working, so
Thank
Don't
you.
jinx us.
I know. But they will be up later today or first thing tomorrow morning, but pretty much they should be up later today. Okay. So I just deconstructed that. Now this extra that you pulled off, I tend to save this because sometimes you could just plop that behind something, maybe not quite that messy. And I wouldn't do it on something this skinny, but I have used it and it looks really cool when you use this behind things. So don't, unless you don't like to collect extra stuff. But I save it. Well,
I tend to save it as well.
and then if it gets all wadded up in something and eventually if I don't use it, then I toss it. But usually I try to use it. And I just did a couple little loop-de-loops there. And then lay this down on top of that, wherever you want on there. I centered it last time. This time I got a little off center, but that's okay.
No, I like it. I think,
Yeah,
and I think
then
the
you
ends
can
look.
trim your little edges a little bit if you feel like they're a little too long.
Oh, I was going to tell you I liked your edges.
Oh, well. And then we're going to pop that up with dimensions. So let's bring in our sheet here, and I'm just going to cut that down a little bit. I'm just going to put this, I'm going to cut it in half. I use this old pair of crappy scissors. I don't even know where they came from to cut my dimensionals apart because we all know then they get sticky and you don't want to ruin your good scissors doing that. So I have this little pair that.
Yeah, I have a specific pair I use for adhesive.
Yeah,
as well.
because they just get sticky residue all over them. And yes, you can clean them up, but
Then you're taking time away from stamping, Debbie.
we can't do that. We have more projects to plan.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Pull that off. And then pull this one off. And that goes on top here. Just like that. And then we will attach, I've got a little runaway here. I'm gonna trim that. Okay. We'll attach this to the card front. Just like, what? Ah, interesting. So my card base is cut wrong. How would I have cut a card base wrong? I don't know, but give me just a second.
Oh, I've totally done that.
Yeah, it's
Makes
like
me feel better.
It must
Yeah,
be
it happens.
It must be one that was cut for something else and I just pulled it out. Yep. It's shorter than. Anyway, easy fix.
Hey, Debbie, if that's the worst thing that happens all day.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, so far nobody's said, oh, I don't have that piece.
I know.
It's always which tends
Oh
to
my gosh. Hey, Debbie, guess what I just found?
my samples.
No. Remember when we did our event in Raleigh and I lost some of the little bubbles from our ocean friends?
Oh,
Yeah, apparently it was in my textured notes stamp set case.
oh, you don't have an extra one because I lost one of the little bubbles
Okay,
too.
well then it must be yours.
No, do you have yours? I don't
I
know.
must have mine. Yeah.
Well, you need
That's
to
why I'm
double
like,
check.
where did this come from? It must be yours.
You need to double check first because I think, and I lost one of the little bubbles, but I think I had lost it before I even got there. So
Well,
that,
isn't that weird though?
that is a little weird. Okay, I'm gonna bring in the Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends, and I'm gonna color. And on these, like if you feel like you use more of the white versus more of like I think this is supposed to be gray granite down here. You could color either one. So I'm going to color the gray granite ones this time.
Okay, it was mine.
That's what I thought because I lost one of the little bubbles before I even got there, and I've looked everywhere. I think it ended up in the garbage somewhere somehow, or
Oh.
I don't know. Sometimes those little tiny ones, it's like.
Yep.
Why do we make such, yeah. Anyway, there was a stamp set Annabelle had out the other day that she was wanting to make a card. And it's funny. She always likes this one stamp set. Now it's retired. And she calls it the confetti set because it has this little square confetti thing in it. And she loves to stamp with that. But she had picked out, oh, the one I did last month for my bonus class, the blooming phrases or whatever it's called. That has a lot of little flowers in it too. Well, I had to really watch her closely so I didn't lose them. It's like, put them on the block, Annabelle.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. There we go. How are we doing time-wise? Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
Doing pretty good.
So there is project number 3. Okay. Now we're going to go on to project number 4. And this is just a simple fun fold. And I think this is the one that Tracie and I had very similar cards. And my thought was with this, one, we had the black and white paper and I wanted to make sure I used it. And second, I thought, well, we have Father's Day coming up. Granted, I didn't have a Happy Father's Day stamp set. I couldn't find one, at least not in anything current. But for me, my husband Drew, his birthday this year falls on Father's Day. So, he could get this birthday card. Not that I'll be honest, I don't usually make him a birthday card. Isn't that terrible? I make all these
Hey,
cards and don't make one for Drew.
hey, Debbie, can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
What color did you use to color the dimensionals on the last card?
The Daffodil Delight.
Okay, that's what I needed. Thanks.
Yep, not a problem.
All right, Debbie, I'll be right back. I've got to go turn off water.
Okay.
So I'll be right back.
Okay. So your piece should already be scored, and it's one of those that basically you're scoring in half and then you're scoring in half, so it folds like that. This is one that you can, if you like to work in the flat surface, what you can do first is attach your 2 pieces of designer series paper. Now, pick 2 coordinating pieces, or in this case, the ones I picked, it's the front and back. So, and you could do it both the same pattern if you want. You can do it like I did it here with, opposites there. It's kind of however you want to do it. Okay, so let's go ahead and attach the designer series paper first. Then we kind of get those out of our way. And I'm going to put that one because that will be our front piece. And then this will be our inside piece. Now, the nice thing about all of the botanical textures designer series paper, although it's black and white, a lot of them aren't too dark where you could change the color of them by just blending, using your blending brush and changing up the color on them. So there's those two. Now I cut 3 strips, whoops, goes this way, of what I wanted to put on the inside. And I just cut off the extra. I had a piece already cut from here that was extra, and I just cut them from there. And I did them 3 little different widths just to give it a little bit of variation there. So let's go ahead and add those at the same time. And again, you could use both front and back, or you can use one pattern, however you want to do it. And you could stamp on the inside if you don't want to add designer series paper. There's that one. There's this one. And I'm leaving a little bit of a gap in between, but you certainly do not have to. Okay. And this one right there. And then you're just going to trim off that excess. Okay. So there's that. That can be attached right here to your inside. So that's going to go right there. And this will go right here. Okay, so then we could fold this, burnish these really good. Okay, now our stamping is so easy peasy. I used the big leaf. Got to clean it here really quick. Since I'm cleaning, I'll just clean all of them. Okay. And all I did is randomly stamped in the one corner. We're going to stamp our phrase first. So I use the birthday wishes from the Simply Said set. And I'm just going to bring in memento. And I stamped the phrase first, so I kind of knew where I wanted to stamp everything. And I'm going to stamp that right down here, kind of in the right-hand corner, right there, just like that. And I got something. Guess I'll be blinging it up again. I don't know what I got on it, but I got something on it. Okay, and then I took the big leaf. And I, again, just use first, second, third, fourth, however many generations of stamping you want to stamp. And I literally stamped in this corner right here. And then I just, turn it however you want. I even came out higher this time versus last time I kind of kept it a little bit lower, but I kind of like it.
I like it.
Maybe I was trying to cover up that little blotchy thing there, but I missed it anyway. So yeah, there you go. Easy peasy, but an easy guy card to make, which sometimes I feel like, well, at least for me, I don't make that many masculine type of cards myself. But sometimes it's nice to have a few on hand just in case. Okay, so then let's go ahead and attach this. To our die cut pieces. Now these 2 pieces are already in your packet and they are already die cut for you out of the textured notes dies. And then you'll just attach this to the card front just like that. Now you can attach it with dimensionals if you want, or you can
Is it
attach it
cooler?
with adhesive.
Outside.
I think I'm on.
Just remember when you are attaching it to make sure you pay attention to where where you want your edge of tape to go so that you don't close it down because then it won't open. So I just kind of lay it out where I want it. I use my finger as a guide. I flip it over and then I come back just a little bit and I add adhesive right there. And I just add like 3 strips and call it good. And I just center it in the center here. And then where, like I said, wherever you want this to end here. And there you go. And there's our card.
You need your bling.
I'm getting there.
Okay, I'm just trying to help you.
I am going to actually put a couple like right here. And I'm going to put one up there where that little splotch is. Because I covered that up. And there you go. There is project number 4. So I'm going to go ahead and bring them all back in just so you can take a look at them again. So that was 4. Here was project 3. Some totally different color palette, I guess you could say. Project 2. And then here is project 1. Now, before I finish up here, I am going to show you the extra cards that I had that didn't make the cut. Just so you can see them. Now, some of these have been used for other things. Let's see, that was bonus class. Like I've used them in videos, or when I did a class a few months ago, I created a PDF and gave it away, and it was using some of this paper too. So I did this fun fold here. I think I did this as a video, but this is one of these like this, but again, using the paper and the same stamp set. So I stamped the little basket circle thing in the back there and then stamped in memento, but I stamped off first so it wasn't quite as dark, and then stamped a little flower in there. And then this is on this designer series paper, and I went around it with a dauber there, but I thought it turned out another guy card. See, I sometimes do come up with some, but this paper helps.
Yeah.
These were the cards that I had designed when I did my Craft-A-Palooza class, and I gave them each a quarter pack of this paper, and then I gave them the PDF to make these cards so they could make them. So, and they all loved it. But it's just another way to use the same paper. I colored it with granny apple green and then cut a piece. And then this is from the bow punch that I punched those out. But just an easy way to make a set of cards for somebody if you wanted to. So there was those. This was one that didn't make the cut. And it's a cute little fun fold. I keep thinking I want to do this as one of my videos, and I haven't done it yet. But it really cute, easy peasy. I stamped on the designer series paper. This I stamped on a scrap piece of basic white, and then I just used a punch to punch it out and added some bling. But another great fun fold. This was one that didn't make the cut. I did random stamping on here. I used the textured, the elements of text in the background. You probably can't even hardly see it. And then again, did the little circle basket weave. And then the big leaf seems to be the popular one, I think.
Yeah.
And I embossed that piece. So that was that one. And then here is my other one I did. And we almost picked this one only because we wanted to show off the new two-tone cardstock, but Tracie didn't have any yet.
Wow, throw me under the bus, Debbie.
So we
You throw me under
decided,
the bus.
well, and we also,
Well, and I didn't have time to order it and
yeah,
get it to
and
you.
there was other, we liked other cards better when we were kind
But I
of
do
going
like that
through
one.
it all, but really easy peasy to make. So this piece here, I tore off, this is the back side of it here. So I tore, I cut a piece, and then you do the tearing technique, and then I just flipped it. So that's that piece. And then the two-tone, I just cut a small strip, and then like this is the front of it, and this would be the back of it. So you're really not cutting that many pieces because I was just flipping and using both sides. And I just left enough of a gap that I stamped a happy birthday there, and then I stamped the smaller leaf. I stamped it off several times first and then stamped it lighter there. But again, like, I guess I was into a guy card. I think it was the color combination too was making me
Yeah.
think, a lot of these could be easy guy cards. So that's my last sample. Okay, I think that's about it. Does anybody
Yeah.
have any questions? Are you still working on projects? Let us know where you are. Here, I'm going to remove spotlight here.
Debbie, are you going to take pictures and post those cards on the Facebook group?
The extra ones?
Uh-huh.
Yes, I could.
Just take it. I mean, even if you just take a group picture, not a
Okay.
fancy
Yeah, I
picture.
will lay them out and I will do that when you're doing your cards. I could do that then. Does anybody have any questions? Everybody moving along and getting projects done? How's everybody doing? Is everybody caught up or still working?
My box won't be delivered till tomorrow.
Are you kidding me?
My Stampin' Up box was supposed to be here Thursday.
Oh,
and then
your
it won't
Stampin' Up
be-
box, not the one
No,
for
no,
me.
no. No, no,
You
no.
scared me to
No, no,
death,
no.
Faye.
So it won't be here till tomorrow now.
Oh,
Oh, that's a bummer. You mean Monday, probably.
Monday, yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
a
was thinking
bummer.
today.
Oh, so you don't
No,
have this.
Mm-mm.
I sometimes get a Sunday delivery.
Maybe.
I have randomly here and there sometimes.
Maybe it will.
If it gets handed off to USPS, sometimes they do deliver on
Mhm.
Sundays, which is really random, but
I thought it would be here from what they said, but it didn't get here.
Oh,
that's a
sorry.
bummer.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
that happened to Laura, who is going to watch the video later. Hers isn't going to be here until
Well,
Wednesday.
I thought I get to see your shining face twice if I watched it now and then.
Oh, I love you. You're so sweet. Faye is one of our NC demos and our North Carolina part of our group, and we actually met at one of the quarterlies and got to we're
Mhm.
part of an icebreaker group, and that's
Yeah.
how we met. So for
Awesome.
those of you who don't like my icebreakers, they're kind of good.
I liked it.
I think it's fun. So Debbie's giving me the you know how I feel about that.
Okay, so I think what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take a 30-minute break. So if that works out for everybody, we'll be back at about 11:45 West Coast time,
That'll be 2:45 East Coasties.
2:45 East Coast time. That'll give the Zoom time to upload for me. And then when we come back, we are going to do a drawing then because I forgot to go put the names out in the wheel of names thing. So I need to go do that too. So we'll do that. I'll put all the names out there at the same time and that way we can do a drawing. And then Tracie will start her projects. And I will put all the samples I just showed you of the other projects out right here and I'll just take a quick picture and I'll share all those too.
That way they have.
So those
And
two.
then the other thing, remember, is for those of you who joined us a little bit later, take a picture of your workspace and share on the Facebook page for the chance to enter into another drawing.
Yes. Should we tell them about the extra they're going to get? Or should we wait?
No, I think you should make them wait.
Okay, we'll make them wait.
There's
You better-
something extra. Now you have something to look forward to.
There you go.
There you go. How's that that's like a Stampin' Up tease. We're getting good at this.
We are. All right, so we will be back in about 30 minutes and it may not even take us 30 minutes. So if you want to try to get back on before that, you certainly can, but it doesn't take Zoom very long to upload it. We just didn't want to end up with a 4-hour video that would have been way too long. So we will be back in about 30 minutes and this will give everybody a time to have a potty break and here on the West Coast, maybe grab a snack or lunch if you haven't done that yet. And then we will see you again shortly.
Okay, Tracie, do I leave the screen as it is? I'm afraid to go out of it.
It will probably kick you out
It will, because as soon as I say end for all, it's going to kick everybody out. So then you'll have to come back in again. But you can just go right back out to the Facebook group and click on the same link. We're going to be bringing up the same thing
I don't
again.
use Facebook. I went to
She did it through my email. So just go
Okay.
back to your email that I sent you and just click the link and
Okay.
it'll bring you right back in.
okay,
Yes.
and I'll
Okay.
send my picture to you on email.
That's fine, and I'll post it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
that will work, Pat.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Wonderful.
We'll see
right,
everybody
we'll see you guys
shortly.
in
Bye,
30 minutes.
guys.
Bye.